What's happening? Big Shizzle reporting for duty. Welcoming you back to another episode of the Yellow Cafe podcast. And today on my special birthday edition, special day after my birthday edition, it's amazing because my birthday is actually a little holiday called Flag Day, in case you didn't know that. Yes, I share a birthday with Trump, but that's besides the point. That's our only similarities, but that's besides the point. But the fact of the matter is, my birthday is on a day called Flag Day. And that's what we're going to kind of discuss right quickly. I'm going to talk about the truth about the flag. So what do you mean? You may say, what is the truth about the flag? What do you mean the truth about the flag? I just want to prepare your mind for this in the first place. Listen. Christians who claim to be patriotic, I want you to be honest with yourselves. And I mean, I'm at a point now to where I'm going to train myself to watch my words, to watch my tone, because when you say things in a certain manner or a certain aggression, people can be quick to kind of take and deflect your message and point your message in the direction of something else that totally has nothing to do with what the point of your protest was, what your speech was, but because you learn those type of things all the time. You learn that just dealing with your significant other. Sometimes you could be right, but if you say something the wrong way, oh, why are you talking to me like that? Now they change it all around, but that's a different video for a different day too. But listen, but the point of what I'm saying is, I'm gonna watch my words to where the only way that you can't hear these things, what I'm about to say, the only way that you can't hear these things is if you don't want to, flat out, is if you're flat out evil, flat out racist, hateful, any other negative word that you could think of. And I really don't care to debate about it or to argue about it, because these things are going to be too out in the open and just clear cut for you to deny, if you have the sense that you say or claim to have. That's the point. If you have the only way that you can miss out on these things is if you do not have good comprehension skills. So check this out. But this is for Christians who claim to be patriotic. You always hear a lot of folks who are Christian/patriotic. They usually accompany the two things together. But let's find out about the truth about the flag and the protest, especially the protest. The biggest reason, one of the things that I love about being biracial is that I do feel as though I have something to offer from both sides of the table, however you want to look at it. For the most part, I have lived with one people and associated with one people. I mean, I've always associated with everyone, but I have more of a deep-rooted history of exactly where they're coming from with one side. Whereas the other, I can understand some business structure and some business terms, but when it comes to the manner of how some of them or most of them look at people when they're dealing with business, it's not humane. So I feel as though I can bring some things to the table and try to have us meet in the middle. And the point is, I would advise, I'm not going to say that I would warn, but I would advise folks on the other side to listen to the talking, because the talking is only working for so many things and really hasn't worked for a lot of things. So the thing is, try to find where people are coming from, because you can have those that are trying to talk to you like me, or you can have others who there's no telling the lengths or the depths they're willing to take it to in order to get their point across. So while we are trying to speak with you, be godly if you say you are godly. Be supreme like a king if you feel as though you are supreme. Be wise like Solomon in judgment if you feel as though that's what you are. Hear these words. See if they line up with the words that come out of that Bible. Because when it comes to business, certain Caucasoids know that numbers don't lie. And that's what everything that they do is based off of. So if you claim to be a Christian, you have to also understand that the Bible does not lie. So just bear with me. All I'm saying is prepare your mind for what is about to take place and for what is being said. You understand? Listen, the whole point of the protest, when it comes down to black folks wanting equality, black folks not wanting to be killed in the streets like dogs, a lot of whites sit back and act as though that has nothing to do with them. And it may appear that way. But what is taking place and what is happening that most whites in America cannot see is how much they are being lied to as well. Blacks are not the only ones being messed over. There are many whites that are in the same predicaments as blacks, whether it be financially, but yet they're thinking in their head that it's due to something else or someone else, when really no, it's the same government that has their foot on the necks of blacks. So the point is, there's so many lies. Even though your life may be all right, white man or white woman, you're still living according to so many lies that this government has given to you or has told to you. Unless you're in that minority that is extremely rich, extremely wealthy, in which case at that point you really don't care about anything that anyone is talking about. God himself has to speak to you in some form of fashion, whether it be through touching your body or touching your finances, even though we don't wish any harm towards you, but you're not going to hear someone like me speaking. This is only for those who can be level-minded and still have some type of fear of God. If you say that you fear God, they say the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And so many people who are so quote unquote patriotic when it comes to this flag claim to be Christians. So let's talk about truth. Are you a truth finder? If you're not a truth finder and if you don't want to know the truth, you're not patriotic, if that's what being American is supposed to be about. See, being American means that you're supposed to be able to question the government once you start seeing things are not going on in a manner that are supposed to be, that are beneficial for you and your people. So if you're not being treated fairly, your right as an American is to scream out and say, hey, I need help over here, y'all. Someone is breaking the law. Someone is not being fair. Well, when it just so happens that the government is the one who's doing these things, we like to just, turn and not look at it. But you have your brothers and sisters crying out to you, telling you that something is not right. For you to not listen, for you to celebrate the American Revolution, but not want to help your brothers and sisters before another revolution kicks off. It's hypocrisy. So let's get into this with some facts, though. Enough of me just talking about how I feel. Let's look at what's really going on. This is about to blow y'all's mind. Starting off a little slow, but y'all know how it goes. My preacher mode. Like I said, white America needs to know they're the ones being lied to. It's not blacks. And how can I say that? Because we know the truth. We're not being lied to. We know what's going on. It's just that we can't do anything about it in certain aspects. Or when we try to, we're given a label that makes us terroristic or evil. But we're not fooled by anything. We've been screaming the same thing for decades, centuries. I mean, really, if you want to really think about it, but decades we've been screaming where we actually believed that we had a voice and a chance to be heard. People were screaming during times of slavery, but there was no hope in those days. At least in the days of the civil rights movement, we believed that our voice had a power, which it did. A lot of change came from that, but blacks know the ugly truth. That's all I'm saying. And that's one difference that I want a lot of white people to know. There's a difference in how we look at things. There are certain things that white people lose their mind about that black people can go through, and it's just not that big of a deal. It's just not. That's why I look at the race, the differences in the people or whatever. Some people say there's no such thing as race. However you want to say it, I believe you. However you want to say that. I don't want to say the wrong thing. We all come from God and we're all going back to God. But I just want to say we do all know that there is a difference in black people and white people. And when you look at them a lot of times, I just see a difference in the composure of how they react to things. And it's just that black people, many more times, are just so much more hard body and God body ready to deal with different trials and tribulations than what some whites may be. It's like even in the midst of the evil, we've been sharpened, hardened. There's still good that has come from it. Not to say that we want to keep on going through this. We don't need any more. But even in the midst of that, we're able to laugh at anything. We're able to forgive anyone. Let them in our culture. Let them dance with us, crack jokes with us, even though we know we wouldn't get the same treatment. Even though we know when we go to their parties, to their get-togethers, even though they say it's okay, we're still going to be looked at funny sometimes. I'm not saying me necessarily because, like I've admitted already, I don't believe that I get as much of the attention that another brother may get who's a darker tone than me. You understand? So I'm not going to sit here and act as if I'm just as in danger, even though I am. But let's be real about it. The blacker, the more scarier, supposedly, you are when it comes down to these different things. But listen, why am I getting off track? Because these are the things that I'm talking about, that Kaepernick was talking about. The blacker you are, you're shot down in the streets, you're killed by the police. And this is what Kaepernick was protesting about. So I want even white people to understand the difference. The difference of maybe potentially what we're being lied to about, but the similarities about how this country lies to both of us. And both of us have different corporations and different businesses and companies that just operate whilst knowing that they're lying to us. And we all just happily participate in these things for years. I'm about to blow y'all's mind. Some of y'all, pause. But I'm about to blow some of y'all's mind. Some of y'all, you already may know some of this stuff, but check this out. John McCain. I want to talk about John McCain, the Arizona senator, who in 2015 helped eliminate blackouts. Now, y'all know what blackouts are. Blackouts were when if your team in your hometown didn't sell enough tickets that week, I believe it was, the game would not come on TV. It wouldn't come on local television. You had to have a package. You know what I mean? One of those special sports packages or something like that. And I don't even know if that stuff was out at that time or when it came out. But blackouts meant if your team did not sell enough tickets at that stadium, you could not watch the game because you were not supporting the team. Now, that would seem fair to say, well, if you're not supporting that team, or if the city isn't supporting that team enough, then you don't deserve to see that team play on television. That seems fair enough. Except the only problem is that most NFL stadiums are taxpayer funded. See, these are the type of games and the type of corporation games that are being played that a lot of whites in America just allow it to happen and take place and don't say anything about. But how do you feel as a New Orleans Saints fan, as a whatever team you like fan? You've loved them your whole life. You go to games when you can afford them, but you buy jerseys, you buy different pieces of memorabilia for the team. But if the team doesn't sell enough tickets on a particular Sunday, you would be denied the privilege or the right to watch that game on television that week, even though your tax-paying dollars fund the stadium that they played in. Now, how crazy is that? How cheeky is that? How cheeky is that, though? You're paying for these stadiums, and they're saying if you don't buy the tickets, you can't get it. But check this out, though. It goes deeper. So John McCain, the senator, in 2015, he helped eliminate blackouts, meaning that no matter what, no matter how no matter how the sales were, all games would come on locally now. He was able to help eliminate that. He says the teams were also paid for patriotism with practices. Now, see, this is the point that we're about to get into where, like I said, if you can hear the truth, then you can hear the truth. If you don't want to hear the truth, you just want to be angry, mad, and You just want to be right and you don't want to get it right. Well, this is the part where you just stop hearing everything that's being said because you're not going to be able to deny what's about to be said. You understand me? But he says teams were paid for patriotism with practices such as salute to soldiers and on-field flag rollouts. So, during the month of, I believe, November, every year, NFL comes out with the salute to service stuff where they start wearing the camouflage stuff, all the military stuff. They start dropping all that stuff. I used to love this stuff. I used to buy all kind of stuff. I still have some of the towels. I had the Peyton Manning jersey, the hoodie, all kind of stuff. The green, the army green, military green stuff. And the on-field flag rollout. So at the beginning of the game, you'd have the big old flag in the middle of the field with all of the people around it. Then they roll it up and all that type of stuff. Check this out. He says that these teams were paid for patriotism when doing all of these things. The theme of this message. Now, check this out. I want you to understand this. You're going to hear me say throughout the course of this message that one of the themes of this message is I do know and understand at the end of the day that the NFL is a privately owned company. That's fine. I do understand. I do understand that if as an owner or a boss, you want to say you have to stand for the anthem, you have to do this, or you're fired or whatever, I understand it is your right to do that. But like I say, it kind of begins to be different once you find out that the public is funding these stadiums. So it's not as private as what you all made it out to be. Not only that, you're about to find out some other things about this if you didn't know already. So like I said, I understand the NFL is a private company, but if you want to flaunt the image of patriotism and freedom, act like it. Don't just put that image out there and be able to back it up with all of your actions. Check this out. Why would owners and the NFL all of a sudden turn extra patriot? Listen to what John McCain has said. Remember, he said that the teams were paid for patriotism. What does he mean paid for patriotism? He saw the increase in all of the marketing and everything else going on in the NFL about 2010 and on. Why would owners all of a sudden and the NFL all of a sudden just turn extra patriot? Check this out. They received $7 million over a 3-year time span. $7 million, three-year deal for armed forces, marketing, advertising, and promotion. You know why you started seeing the NFL marketing everything about the military all of a sudden? Because they were paid millions of dollars to do so. And being that that's government spending, guess who was footing those bills? You. Guess who paid it? You. So some people who agree with the fact that Colin Kaepernick was kneeling and taking a knee, some people that agree with that, guess what? They paid for those flag celebrations, the salute to service celebrations. They paid for those just as much and as well as those of you who don't agree with him kneeling did. Now, once again, if it was a privately owned company and it stayed private, we would all have to mind our business. But the public has been brought into this thing, and now the public is footing the bill for a lot of the things that all of these billionaires are spending money on, spending your money on. Now you do have a voice. Now you do have a choice. Now you do have something to say when now, since it's a public issue, well, now I want something done about certain public officials or certain public figures who are doing something in my community that I don't agree with. Now this is taxpayers' dollars going towards these stadiums, towards these teams. Guess what? It's almost like the Green Bay Packers, where I believe they don't have an owner, but they just have like a committee or something where they vote on different things. Well, NFL, once you want to bring the public into your pockets or bring yourself into the public's pockets, guess what? We're voting on some things. We're speaking on some things. Listen to this. This is outrageous. That I can stop right here and end the message. We could take an offering right now. But the fact of the matter is, I have more facts for you, or go more into detail about this. But the fact that the public is paying for these stadiums, how could you dare tell us that we do not have a right to protest? Listen to this. Some may ask, what's wrong with promoting patriotism? Because I wouldn't want you to get the idea that I'm saying something is wrong with the military paying the NFL to promote loving this country and fighting for this country, I guess. But if you're going to promote that, if you're trying to promote patriotism, it can't be one-sided. So you want to promote your side of patriotism, or your initiative, your intentions with your patriotism is what you want to be seen and have the light shined on in the positive way, in a great way. But when someone expresses their patriotism or their desire to have more freedom in this country, you shine a bad light on it. Terrible light, with terrible catchphrases and buzzwords attached to it. Like taking the message that never said anything about the military and turning towards it. That's why it's hard for me to even entertain anyone who talks about the flag and things of that nature and brings up the military when they have Colin Kaepernick on camera explaining to you what these protests were all about. The media, and solely the media, took the narrative of this man's protest and turned them around to make them disrespectful towards most Caucasian Americans that they know once they just hear anything about the flag would go crazy. But just like in the church, most of those same Caucasian Americans, most of those same Caucasoids, don't know the Constitution, don't know the ins and out of it. The same way a lot of so-called Christians don't know the Bible. They don't know the Constitution. So they don't even know and understand that some of the things that's taking place right in front of their eyes are, if not illegal, highly unethical and un-American. But yet they heard what the media said. The same media that we know for a fact. We have learned how to operate our media from Joseph Goebbels and Nazi Germany, the master of propaganda. We use those same tactics. You have to think about it. Anytime you can have a country like Germany follow behind you and cheer you on as you chase behind and chase down 6 million Jews and execute them. Anytime you can get a country to back you up as you do those things, I mean, that's some powerful stuff. So if you think that America had no interest in finding out how to influence their people after they saw the influence that Adolf Hitler and Joseph Goebbels had, you're out of your mind. We use the same operating tactics in our media as Nazi Germany did. Hell, we use their scientists. Their scientists founded NASA. If you want to be honest about it, look up who the founder of NASA is. And if it wasn't a German Nazi, then I'll be highly embarrassed. But I'm quite sure I can prove that the founder of our NASA, our space aviation programs, were the same German scientists that were making weapons for Hitler to invade all kinds of different portions of the world in the name of racism and the Aryan race. Come on now. Now, instead of killing these people, instead of hanging these people, instead of punishing these people for war crimes, we employed them. I know I'm getting off track, but that's how it is talking to me. That's amazing. So when I look at the media and I see how quickly they take narratives of what's being said, it's not even worth responding to, because you're dealing with a sick person that can hear something that they know is not the truth. It just excites them because it lines up with their beliefs and their values. But there's no truth behind it, because if you ever sit down with these people and talk to them, or if they sit down and talk to you, you're going to be able to bring up some points that make them look foolish in regards to what the whole issue is about. They just want to be right. They just something offended them, and they don't want to hear about it. They just want to go off the rails and just tell you how unpatriotic you are, and that's their only excuse. But At the end of the day, this country isn't even for the Caucasoids. So none of them can tell me anything. There is no true patriotism unless you're willing to give the Indians everything back. You can't even talk to me like that. Okay, let's go. So like I said, some may ask what's wrong with promoting patriotism. And like I said, it is the fact that it is one-sided. You just want to talk about how great America is and how we should fight for this country. But then when you have actual citizens in the country telling you about their perils and their troubles, you're like, shut up. The game is on. They don't want to hear blacks when it comes to promoting patriotism, only whites or blacks who agree with whites. Not with Caucasians, but that agree with Caucasoids. There is a difference. Caucasoids is a specific, special type of Caucasian in my book. Just told you. My birthday was yesterday. Today is June 15th, 2020. But on June 14th, 1943, this is amazing. June 14th, 1943. Remember I just asked you, what's wrong with promoting patriotism? Well, the thing about it is, in June of 1943, on the 14th, the West Virginia State Board of Education versus Barnett, the Supreme Court said that you cannot force children to salute the flag in school. Meaning that it was an unconstitutional violation of their freedom of speech and religion. Ain't that something? Now, I understand, like I said, I understand it's a privately owned company. But if you want to promote the Constitution and patriotism, don't you have to promote the rules and the laws and ideas that are found within the Constitution? So if the Supreme Court in 1943 says that you can't not force children to salute the flag, why are you trying to make grown men stand for the flag when they're telling you, I want to kneel and pray for a better day? How hypocritical is that? If you say you follow the Constitution, follow the Constitution. And look at this. Look at the time frame that this law was passed in 1943. Dead smack in the middle of World War II. You mean to tell me in the middle of World War II, when patriotism was needed at an all-time high, people still had the decency to say you cannot force children to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance or whatever you call it. You can't force them to do that. In the middle of World War II, you would think that they would say anyone who doesn't want to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance must be a traitor, must be a German, must be a Japanese, must be this, must be that. You would think that. But even in the midst of everything that was going on, the wars through the whole world, people still found decency enough to say, you can't force children to do that. Different people have different religions and different beliefs. If this country is what we say that it is, we can't force that. So how ironic is it that you're saying you're patriotic, but you're going against a Supreme Court ruling of 1943 when you say that someone should have to stand for the flag? My goodness. Now, what is really ironic and hypocritical and only money motivated is if you are a patriot that doesn't know their Constitution, like some Christians that don't know their Bible, we're going to shock you. I'm going to shock you with a few more things that we're going to talk about. Why do I say that? Because I want to go to I don't really know how to read this. I don't want to say it wrong as far as what it's called, but it says the 4 U.S. Code 8, respect for flag. This is the important part. This is the good stuff. Like I said, wait, what was the last thing I just told you? Told y'all I'm preaching like it's like we in a sermon, man. Listen, but if you're a patriot, you need to know your Constitution. Same way Christians need to know their Bible. Don't talk all that talk and you don't even know the word. and you're depending on what someone else is telling you and hoping that it's the truth. If you claim to be a patriot, you better know what you're talking about. Because a lot of you don't even know the Constitution at all. You don't even know the rights that all of us have. So check this out. Like I said, 4 U.S. Code. We want to talk about, it's called 4 U.S. Code 8, respect for the flag. I mean, if you ever want to see this, I can get it to you. However, just reach out to me and I'll let you know. Check this out. I want to read D. Let's just read D. I want to say they have A through K as far as different rules and regulations. A through K. But I just want to read 4 of them. From 4 U.S. Code 8, respect for flag, starting off with D. Look at this. The flag should never be used as wearing apparel, bedding, or drapery. It should never be festooned, drawn back, nor up in folds, but always allowed to fall free. Bunting of blue, white. Let me see if this is necessary. That's not even necessary anymore. That's not, the rest of it isn't even necessary. But look at the beginning of this. The flag should never be used as wearing apparel, bedding, or drapery. So anytime you have the American flag on your swimming trunks, on your beach towels, on your bed towels, sheets, on a shirt, you're unconstitutional. You are not patriotic. You are a terrorist. You are against this country. It's not my words. It's your people's words. And once, don't get mad at me. Let's read your words. Look at this. H. Let's go to H. The flag should never be used as a receptacle for receiving, holding, carrying, or delivering anything. But yet, you'll see your good old boys in the South, or everywhere really, but your good old boys have the flag on beer mugs, beer cans, Budweiser. Correct me if I'm wrong. Before I say something that's wrong, let me Google and see if that Budweiser can used to have it on there. Budweiser American can. I know they used to have a can that, look kind of. Nah, it just says America. Okay, so I take that back. But still, you're using it for advertisement. Check this out, though. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Because even that is not accepted. So I said D, H, J, and I. We already read D. I'm on H. What does H say? You don't use it for receiving, holding, carrying, or delivering anything. Let's skip I. Let's go to J right quick. No part of the flag should ever be used as a costume or athletic uniform. Are you serious? So when they have the flag on the jerseys in the midst of salute to service, you mean to so wait a minute. I already told you all these people was getting paid. I told you all these people was getting paid, right? No. I didn't say y'all enough. But you're not supposed to have this flag on anything. It says word for word, no part of the flag should ever be used as a costume or athletic uniform. They don't care what you're doing. They don't care how you're trying to salute the flag or salute the nation. You don't use it like this. It says, however, a flag patch may be affixed to the uniform of military personnel, firemen, policemen, and members of patriotic organizations. Because these people are actually putting their life on the line to protect the country, like a patriot should, not just playing a game of football. You understand? It's petty. No one can, at the end of the day, it's a game of football. It's not that important. So why are you trying to use it as a showcase for your patriotism in the first place? I'm going to explain it. And I'm sorry, I'm going to break up a lot of you Caucasoids' hearts who may just think that this football game is just so important, so patriotic, and that they just care so much about the American flag and patriotism. Last piece right here. I want to read I. And why am I saying I? Because the last point I made. In which we talked about how you would be shocked. Listen to this. I says the flag should never be used for advertising purposes in any manner whatsoever. It should not be embroidered on such articles as cushions or handkerchiefs and the like, printed or otherwise impressed on paper napkins or boxes or anything that is designed for temporary use and discard. It's like you're supposed to treat this thing like the Holy Grail. You understand? You can't put it on anything. Handkerchiefs, bandanas, shorts, nothing. Nothing. Posters, nothing. So how many of you all the time are disrespecting the American flag and you're mad because someone is kneeling behind their people being killed? How many of you? How many of you that are hollering about Kaepernick and what he's doing do these same things all the time and didn't even know that you were breaking constitutional ethics? Not only that, he said the flag should never be used for advertising purposes in any manner whatsoever. So why is the NFL advertising it so hard? You may say they're not advertising it. They're true patriots. Well, I beg to differ. Because quoting Stephen A. Smith, it wasn't even until 2009 that players stood for the anthem as part of a marketing strategy. Up until 2009, the players stayed in the back in the locker room until this was over with, until the singing of the national anthem was over with. What brought about this change? Well, between 2011 and 2014, the U.S. Department of Defense gave the NFL and particular teams $5.4 million. The National Guard gave teams between 2013 and 2015 $6.7 million. Why, you ask? I'm glad you asked. As part of on-field patriotic ceremonies for military recruitment budget line items. Meaning the only reason that any NFL game is showing the national anthem. Remember, the national anthem used to only be shown during the Super Bowl. Besides that, it wasn't important enough or patriotic enough. It only became important once they started to get paid to promote the armed forces and once the protests began, because either way it's publicity. But until 2009, the teams didn't even come from out of the locker room for the national anthem. And now here they are getting paid to put on all of these great grand shows. Now check this out. Even if that's the case, even if you're getting paid for it, you want to get paid for it, check this out. I'll support your message. Even if you want to pay people to scream out their patriotism, I'll support your message, even though it's paid for and just wants to support a military that will fight for bankers and those who do not have your best interest in mind. That's fine. But I'll support it because it brings you peace of mind. You understand? Like I said before, I actually used to buy a lot of salute to service gear. I used to love it. I'm talking about every year it dropped. I was looking for the new salute to service stuff in coats and giants all day long. But how is it that I can support your message if that's what you want to do? You want to just be like, stand for the anthem, love your country, this or that. Fine. How can I support your message? But yet you refuse to support your fellow Americans when they organically begin to speak out about a lack of freedoms in the same country. See, the message that you're screaming about, you didn't even start it. And once again, like a lot of Caucasoids do, they never have anything to say about something until someone else is speaking about something. You know why? Because most Caucasoids don't have anything to worry about in this life. Yeah, they may have a few money issues where they're trying to get more money or whatnot. But for the most part, it's not the same issues that other people are talking about. So it's not until they hear someone else speaking about something that they say, wait, what did he say? What are they talking about over there? Oh, Black Lives Matter? All lives matter. Like, why weren't you been saying that then? Where were you at? You know what I mean? That's a shame. It's funny though. But it goes to show you were not even supporting the military or having those ideas during the games until the armed forces begin to pay the NFL in order to start marketing to the public in order to recruit. You see your favorite heroes with the sentimental clothes on, sentimental gear on, while the sentimental music is playing. Now you associate that hero that plays whatever your favorite sport is with the same glory of the military. And that's how they psychologically get people to join. And you know they pay millions and millions of dollars to people to find out what are the best ways to influence people to want to come and join the armed forces. If they're paying, or if we're paying as taxpayers for that to happen. Because anytime you're talking about government money, we're spending that money. We're paying for that. Not only are we buying and paying for the stadiums that these games are being played in, we're paying for the military celebrations, everything. Taxpayers are paying for all of that. And you're telling other taxpayers that they don't have the right to kneel during that anthem? That's not patriotic. That's hypocritical. That's evil. To your face, you're a devil. You're a liar. If you feel that way, you are a liar. And the truth is not in you. Period. That's not right. And it's not up for debate. So check this out. You want people to support a cause that we're all paying for. You're being paid to do this. You're being paid to say, hey, man, love this thing over here. It's not even real. But yet an organic cause that started from people being killed in the streets, you don't want to support that one. Even though the people who are speaking out are the same ones you love to watch on any other Sunday. But when they speak out, that's a slave master mentality to say, no, you just get back to work. I don't care about what you're saying. You just get back to work and do what I told you to do. You just do what I paid to see you do, boy. I don't want to hear what you got to say. Are you serious? Are you serious? You love me when I'm quiet and obedient. That is one of the most embarrassing attempts at privilege possible, to just tell someone, I don't want to hear what you have to say. Just play that sport, boy. You just keep making them tackles, making them touchdowns. What? Dude, people are getting killed in the streets. You don't want to hear what I have to say about it? Nope. How fast is your 40? Oh, man. Are you serious? But see, no one can see the bigger picture until God strips them of their regular, normal life and lays them on a deathbed. Now they begin to see what life is about. Some people still don't come to their senses, but hey. So you refuse to support your fellow Americans when they have an organic movement where they're beginning to speak out about a lack of freedoms in the same country, even risking their jobs and lives. If you do, you're a liar, a hater, a racist, and a hypocrite, and there's no debate. Now, anyone who says if you don't like America, get out, let me tell you about the ones who say, well, if you don't like America, get out. First off, with no debate, no questions. No debate, no questions. I almost said that like one of the no debate, no questions. No debate, no questions. You're a racist, flat out. Anyone who ever says if you don't like this country, get out, they are a racist. Let them know that, and do not let them leave that room telling you anything different. Do not walk off on them. Tell them flat out you're a racist. They're going to have to just tell you, I know, but they cannot deny anything otherwise. Why? You're ignorant and lazy, first off, for not being competent enough to come up with a better solution. See, folks can always come up with solutions when it's time to shut black folks up, but when it's time to help them, they don't have anything. They have nothing. Oh, y'all just be quiet. When you go to talking, what y'all should do is shut up and blah, blah, blah. But when you ask to help, there's no solutions, no help. Anyone who says if you don't like America, get out, you're privileged and you're very unlearned and lacking knowledge, because anyone knows how this country was obtained would have sympathy for other people in this country. There's no way that you can sit here, especially as a Caucasoid, acting as if you don't like this country, you need to get out when this isn't even your country. You're just a conqueror of it. But are you serious? Just because you weren't alive when people came here and did it, never forget what your people did. People always say never forget 9/11. I go back in history before that. My history doesn't start at 9/11 where you like it to be. And then the U.S. government did that to itself anyway. But my recollection of history does not start where you would like it to start. I never forget Tulsa, Oklahoma. and many, many, many other things. With that, I'm just gonna name Tulsa because that's the one thing that I just love the most, love to study about the most. And I'm gonna say, you say that was your tragedy, but that was black people's tragedy in America on American soil. American citizens killed, a lot of American citizens killed, and no one has anything to say about that. We have to just remember 9/11. Nope. So check this out. Because of McCain, the NFL is giving back the money that they made from these deals. The NFL is giving it back because of how McCain exposed it. Now check this out. Do you know how evil the intent or how bad the public perception had to have been for this privately owned company to give the money back if they gave it back like they said they did? Do you know how evil their intent had to be or how bad their public perception had to be? Companies and corporations do not give money back. They don't. Once it goes in, it does not go out. You know how Nipsey Hussle was talking about all money in? Man, that's how them boys get down for real. All money in, ain't nothing going back out. So once it goes in, that's a wrap. So for him to be able to get them to give that money back is amazing. That means they know they were wrong. They know it was wrong. They know deep down inside it was terrible. It was a bad look and it was terrible. So like I said before, the national anthem was never shown before games except the Super Bowl before the protest. Why? Because it's only prime time when you get the camera. Because all the NFL cared about before that time was sponsors. That's it. You're not getting the camera. You're not getting our time when we get so much. Listen to this. If you love America so much and you love truth so much and virtue, why is it that until your taxpayer dollars, and still never forget at the end of the day, it's your money. If they ask me, would I like to put together a show before every NFL game or would I like $50 or $75 more on my check every week? Guess what I'm picking? So don't act like you're that patriotic because you'll choose the same thing. Don't act like you're that patriotic, man. You like it because you have no other choice. They took your money already, and this is what they're spending it on. You have no choice except to like it. I don't mind my tax dollars going to. You have no choice, dude. I'm just if this is the first time that you're finding out about it, you don't even know it's taking place. So your tax dollars are going to a lot of things that you don't know and you don't like, and you can't do anything about it. So that's why we're bringing awareness. But how does it feel to know that until your tax dollars or until the armed forces that protect this country and invade other ones for no reason a lot of times, how did you feel knowing that the armed forces weren't important enough to them to give so much time and attention until they could afford to replace the money that other corporations would give the NFL for those time slots? They're not giving anything. All of the programs so at this point, you have to understand whatever you think the NFL is doing with these new initiatives, they are being paid to do. It's not volunteer work. This is crazy. Check this out. This is what's groundbreaking right here. This is literally what's groundbreaking to me, at least in my mind. Around the same time, the NFL finally gave up its tax exemption. Do you know that before all of this kicked off to where people found out that the NFL was being paid by the armed forces in order to do all of this promoting and advertising and marketing and recruiting, up until this point, the NFL was a non-profit organization. Even though they were making billions of dollars a year, they still but that's America for you. Certain people and certain minorities cannot get any kind of breaks and rights at all, but yet those who are extremely rich can still find ways to scheme and scam and get even more money. Now, when they say the rich get richer, it's no lie. But how are you a nonprofit organization and tax exempt as the NFL? How are you an organization that can pay the that you do pay to the players that you have, and you're non-profit, you're not for profit. But around the same time, the NFL finally gave up that tax exemption. Like I said, I don't even know why they ever had one in the first place. But why would they give up the tax exemption? Listen, this took a lot of financial exposure and pressure off of the NFL. They did that to where people would stop asking questions. Why are you're making all this money and not even tax exempt? Well, how much do you make about? So they heard up and said, okay, we'll pay taxes. We'll pay taxes. Now, as long as we're paying taxes now, you can't worry about how much we're making because we're paying taxes like everyone else. You feel me? See, they only move. And see, this is what I want a lot of black folks to know about your protest. Until you play with these people's money, you're not doing anything. I know a lot of folks don't like to hear that. But as long as you're burning down stuff that does not affect their pockets on a large scale, you are wasting your time. You're absolutely wasting your time. You see, when Caucasoids wanted to take things over, they burned things, they looted, but they hit the right things immediately. Black folks start protesting and looting and busting stuff up immediately, but it be the wrong stuff. You get no results that way. None. It's the wrong stuff. There's no thought to it, no plan to it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not mad. I can't be mad at people for showing their frustration and anger at a time and in a country where they feel as though they're not being heard. But what results do you get from destroying some of the places that you're destroying? Now, you could take some time and come up with the right places. But you see, until you affect their pockets, they don't hear you. Or unless you match their physical force with their physical force. That's another story. But if you want to be nonviolent, the only way that you're going to get them to hear you is when you touch their pockets, period. See, they had to get the public out of their business, out of their pocket. So what did they say? Listen, we'll give up the tax exemption. Not only did they get them out of their pocket as far as how much the NFL was making, but it also at that point, by them paying taxes, Goodell at this point does not have to disclose his earnings to the public anymore either. Because remember, that was becoming a question about how much money he really was making just being the commissioner of the NFL. But now, since they are not tax exempt anymore, he does not have to disclose that information. So see, they only move when they're forced to. And even when they do move, they're still going to look for every possible benefit in the direction that they're moving before they land. I'm just telling you the mind of the people that some of you are praising and thinking are so righteous. And they do you these same things on your job all the time. But because you're the same color, you don't see it. And like I said, even to this point, I've respected the NFL's right to do as they please as a private organization. Do they still deserve immunity knowing that the public pays up to 70% of the stadiums and their building cost? How? How is the public footing the bill for your stadiums and yet you're dictating to the public what they can and cannot speak on and about? And you fans who are paying for these stadiums and believe in the flag as well, if you do believe in the flag, do you not know that that flag represents the fact and the ability of people and the right to disagree with you? See, we're not talking about religion. We're talking about politics. I understand when it comes to religion, you may not be able to accept as easily the fact that someone does not serve your God or believe in your God. But when it comes to politics and just freedom to live, you have to let people live. You have to let people make their own decisions. So how could you be mad at blacks who are telling you we're being treated unfairly? How could you be mad at taxpayers just like you who are saying, hey, this is what I want to do with my voice after I pay my taxes, man. This is what I'm going to talk about. This is what I want the public to hear. And it's something, not to say that it's just anything, but it's actually something of substance and value, of saving lives and getting justice. Listen, there's even and for local people, there's renovations they're planning to make to the Superdome before the year 2024. $450 million. Guess who's going to pay that? You. But look how the owner, or Gail Benson, had nothing to say when it came time for protest. Look at what your quarterback had to say when it came time for protest. But guess who's going to foot the bill for that stadium so that they can keep on playing ball and making money and acting like they care about you? You're going to pay that bill whether you like it or not. Whether they agree with your protest or not, whether they care about your children being killed in the street or not, you're going to pay that bill. The rest of you who don't agree with other people being able to have their right to speak, with them being able to express their patriotism as well, you're going to foot this bill, even though that league is going to make them say you cannot express your rights as an American. Even though the league is going to tell them, we don't care what you have to say, you better stand for the national anthem. You Caucasians who may agree with the plight are going to be silenced. All right, well, just to bring up this point, and I forget, I had it to reference. But it was actually a Louisiana senator. But after the Saints protest had threatened to take away funding to the $450 million that I told you about. The $450 million is going towards renovating the Superdome, because I believe we're supposed to have a Super Bowl for that year or something like that. But he threatened the NFL and everyone involved in that process that they would not be getting that money if the players were allowed to protest. And then he said that money could be given to, what he said? Money could be given to disabled children, elderly, and veterans. Once again, why do you not mention these things until Black people are mentioning their problems? It's every single time. It isn't until Black people mention their problems that Caucasoids have all kind of ideas for, well, no, you should do this instead. Well, but why don't you have any ideas to help us though? None. But you have all kind of ideas of things we could be doing instead of helping us. I just don't get it. But see, ignorance is bliss. That's why you would love to watch your sports without any interference. But if the players' whole families, have issues, you love to just watch these sports, just watching it with no problems at all because your life is all right to a certain level. But if the whole league, or most of the league of a certain color, is telling you my problems are, my family is having problems, my people are being killed in the streets, they have issues, you hypocritically want them to shut up though. It's like the old slave gladiator type mentality. Just shut up and fight to the death. Like nothing outside of this field matter, boy. Nothing off this court matters. You think about these sports. It's like, are you serious? If you really feel that way, tell yourself that way. Just tell yourself that. Just really say, I don't care about anything going on in these boys' lives. I just want to watch those sports and just live your life then. But just know. And if you know someone who feels that way, just tell them flat out how racist they are and leave it as what it is. People think that this is slave days and the gladiators and this is the Coliseum, but it isn't. This is a day and age where people are going to speak out and speak against the things that are going on, especially in the league, to where if Blacks leave the league, it's not even going to be anything that you want to watch on Sundays anyway. Sorry, I mean, no offense, but there's a few Caucasians, exceptional Caucasians. I love Christian McCaffrey. He's a dog. There's a few of them. Quarterbacks, there's a few, but there's not enough to the point in every position. It's going to be the same game if Blacks were to just leave. So this is why I don't understand why they don't get together and just stop. Don't worry about kneeling. Just leave altogether and see how great that game is for those same Caucasoids who are saying, we don't need you on the field. Go back to your country. All right. You ever seen a game where it's two backup quarterbacks playing? It's terrible. Long. Back to John McCain though. We're about to wrap this up. He obtained copies of contracts from the Pentagon, government building, the Pentagon, between themselves and the NFL and its teams. I'm going to name to you top 10 NFL teams: Falcons, Patriots, Bills, Vikings, Ravens, Saints, the Chargers. Keep in mind the Chargers, who at that time in San Diego, there's a Marine base in San Diego, so you expect them to be a part of this. The Seahawks. They have the Atlanta Braves in here as well. My Colts, which that's sad to see. My Indianapolis Colts. And the Packers. You see how it's spread out all over the place kind of strategically, though, the top teams. You also have the Chiefs, the Jets, the Browns, the Dolphins, the Bengals. You know the Cowboys, the Rams, and the Steelers. So it's amazing. They're spending money with all of these different teams to promote their stuff, to pay for this quote-unquote patriotism. But see, people don't want to voluntarily join the American killing machine. So you see all of the trouble and all of the taxpayers' money that they have to go through to convince people to do that. Because I guess enough people are not voluntarily joining the killing machine after, with the internet and everything else, we're able to find out what's really going on. So they spend taxpayers' monies to coerce the same taxpayers into joining the machine. So just keep in mind, every time that you see these ceremonies, enjoy them fully, because the only reason these leagues and teams are taking the time to do this is because they were paid to. And you're the one footing the bill, including myself. So with that being said, I would hope that you could see the hypocrisy behind the whole national anthem in the first place. And with that being said, you should even be more prone to join the protest of the anthem, knowing that you're being lied to and used as well. So God bless. Until the next time.